Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is a unfiltered, unrated rant on Rob Zombie's Lords of Salem. Now, this is a request by Brock. Thanks, Brock. I hope you enjoy this video, despite how much I'm going to tear apart this movie. Um, I did not care for this film at all. This was a boring, tedious, tiresome, pretentious art house wank fest of the highest order. The Lords of Salem, more like the Lords of Boredom, because this movie bored me out of my fucking skull. It shows you that Rob Zombie can make trashy movies that are piles of garbage thrown at your screen that don't star and don't feature a bunch of trailer trash. So I know some people are like, oh, well, Rob Zombie goes out of his comfort zone and he does something that doesn't feature a bunch of trailer trash characters. Well, still sucks. And it's still an incredibly difficult a film to sit through, as much as a lot of his other trailer trash pieces of shit. Um, Rob Zombie wrote and directed this movie, and the concept of the movie, I think, has potential. There's this coven of witches that was tried and burned at the stake centuries ago, and in order to get revenge on their ancestors, the ancestors of the people that killed them, they decide to create this music, this not necessarily music, but they create these notes that can be played that are an incantation that'll bring them back to life. So they find a way to put this on a record. I guess maybe because they're told that the ancestors of their coven are tasked with this record recording or whatever it is, and they give it to Sherri Moon Zombie's character, and the record is played and it causes people to do some weird things and women in particular to go into trances. And so, while yes, the idea of a record bringing something into our world is nothing 100% original and unique. I mean, Trick or Treat, the 1986 film, did that. And I actually think that did that better. I think Trick or Treat was an 86 film. But but despite the fact that it is a concept that's been done before, it still has some potential for some fun, some heavy metal horror fun, but the movie doesn't really embrace the fun of the concept. It takes it too seriously, and then by the end just tries to become pretentious and art house, and Rob Zombie is showing what looks like a fucking walking anthropomorphic fried turkey in an opera house, and it's supposed to be scary or unsettling or disturbing, but I'm just laughing at just how pretentious and try hard it all is. I mean, there's a sequence in this movie where there are a bunch of demon priests that are jacking off to multicolored dildos. They might as well be jacking off with Skittle dicks, because all the colors of the fucking rainbow, and you're just like, what is this fucking shit? You have these weird flashbacks that Sherri Moon Zombie's character has, or hallucinations with this guy who looks like a fucked up Destro from G.I. Joe. And I guess it was a death mask that was put onto one of the witches, but then it's not really, You don't really see this character throughout much of the film, so why was it there? Just for a random bit of shock and horror, or an attempt at horror. Um, there's a sequence which is supposed to be really tense, where Sherri Moon Zombie's character Heidi LaRock, she goes to this church and she talks to this priest who works there, and it's insinuated that he's trying to hit on her and trying to, get in her pants, and then she hallucinates that he just has an O face and then vomits black goo everywhere. Like, this is the kind of shit that you write when you're high on shrooms or whatever the fuck, and don't really care about its coherence, don't really give a shit about, writing characters that are strong, or about anything really making any sense. You just throw shit at the wall, in this case, throw shit at the page and hope it sticks. And it stinks, and it reeks like garbage and shit. um, yeah, this screenplay is a mess. But Rob Zombie's direction, once again, there are some sequences that I have to admit were well shot and were a little bit creepy. Like when Heidi LaRock goes into this mysterious room in the hotel that she's staying at, and it's all bathed in red, and she sees this neon cross on the wall, and there's this hairy beast that comes up behind her. That was a pretty well shot sequence, and it was a little creepy. So there are some moments where you're like, whoa, like, okay, all right, I can kind of see what you're trying to do here. But then it just swerves into pretentious, pathetic, atrocious, annoying land, where you're just like, what the fuck are you doing, Rob Zombie? What is this fucking detour? This just disastrous detour that you're taking here, where it ends in the most pretentious way possible, where the witches find a way to come into our world and apparently somehow impregnate Heidi with a hentai baby and say things like, "Bleed us a king!" And she dies, and then she's standing there with her eyes all white, and there's a bunch of naked people that are like piled up. I think they're like dead bodies that are piled up around her, like it's some kind of naked macabre, this naked woman macabre fucking statue or diorama straight out of Lucio Fulci's The Beyond. It's just like, what even is any of this? As bad as 31 was, at least it made a semblance of sense for the most part, even though there were things that weren't explained and weren't really delved into well enough. And at least with 31, I had things like Doomhead and Richard Brake. This, I don't have any characters that I liked or gave a fuck about. Bruce Davison is trying his best to engage the audience, but he gets taken out and he gets killed by, the new coven on the block. And early on, I was kind of intrigued by the plot, but it just lost me because it was focusing on Sherri Moon Zombie, and she's a shitty actress, and it is painfully evident in this movie, and in pretty much every film that she's the main attraction in. There's a scene in this film, the same scene I was telling you about in the church, where she is supposed to emote in a way that is genuine, in terms of being disgusted at the priest's advances, but it's completely fake, and you don't buy it, and you actually pay more attention to how bad her line delivery is in that scene. And the film just went into the dumpster after that. It just got worse and worse, and more pretentious, and more fucking chaotic, and more frustrating, and more confusing. And it's a shame because, like I said, the concept here has some potential, but it forgot. Once again, Rob Zombie forgets to write characters that aren't abhorrent, annoying, or pieces of shit. So I like actors like Ken Foree, but his character is a douchebag. Daniel Phillips, he seems to be a decent actor, but his character is also a douchebag. Sherri Moon Zombie's character, Heidi Rock, is big time friends with her co-hosts, and she goes along with their bullshit, so she's kind of a bitch too. And she's the one that's the focus of this whole subplot, not just her subplot, this whole main plot of these witches trying to, I guess, sacrifice her and, to get a new demon hentai king. And there's no suspense because you don't give a fuck what happens to her. And Meg Foster's in this, and I honestly didn't even know she was the main evil witch, Margaret Morgan. She bears everything in this, and they did a good job with the makeup, making her look almost completely unrecognizable. And I have to admit, there were some moments when the intensity of the film was effective, but those moments were very fleeting because Rob Zombie does not know when to stop. He does not know when to turn the dial down. He just keeps the dial at 11 at all times, and it just causes the intensity that he's trying to go with, and it causes that intensity to wane and at times completely dissipate and just turn into something completely different. It just turns into ridiculousness, and it just makes you laugh at how try-hard intense it is. Like in the beginning, for instance, with the naked witches. At first, I was kind of a little bit taken aback, a little disturbed, because, it's really kind of a weird, unsettling opening. And then it just keeps going, and then the witches are in a circle, and they're cackling, and then I was like, okay, this is just dumb now. And he just kept doing that over and over. Some creepy visuals here and there, and then fucking Turkey Man, and then just fucking demon priests jacking off with their skittle dicks. It's like, what the fuck? The rainbow lollipop dicks. I just like, what even is this fucking bullshit? It's not scary. It's weird. But it's not scary. I mean, you expected people... Was that supposed to be funny? If that's the case, that just means that you don't know how to keep or maintain a proper tone throughout your terrible piece of shit movie. And despite how much Rob Zombie tries to write a film with a normal plot line, normal characters, and normal lines of dialogue, he still can't help himself and has lines that make you cringe because of how try hard and how trailer trash they are. It's like he can't, and puerile, like he can't get away from that particular line of thinking. Most of this movie, he gets away from it, but as the film continues on, then you get stuff like, I think you've come here to get inside my dear little Heidi's head. Get inside her head and fuck her brain. Have you come here to stick your nosy cock inside her head and fuck her brain, Mr. Matthias. You're just like, come on. Really, man? Can you not? Can you not go there? I know it's your trademark, but this is your film you're trying to... I guess this is your attempt at making an art house horror movie to be taken seriously. And then you have lines of dialogue like that about sticking nosy cocks inside people's brains. It's fucking laughable. And not in a way where it's actually funny. It's the kind of laughable where you cringe and die inside. And you're laughing just to kind of dull the pain. That's really what's going on with that kind of dialogue. And it's too bad because there are some decent performances here that are wasted. Patricia Quinn, Dee Wallace. You even have Maria Conchita Alonso, who plays the wife of Bruce Davison's character. Judy Geeson is also in this. Barbara Crampton has a little bit part. I guess Michael Berryman was in this as a character named Virgil Magnus, but that was a cameo that I just blinked and I missed. And Clint Howard and Lisa Marie, Udo Kier, Christopher Knight is some guy named Keith Lobster Joe Williams. I don't fucking remember that. Apparently my cat is losing his goddamn mind right now around my feet because I think he's even tired of Rob Zombie's bullshit. So even the music did nothing for me by John 5. It was droning. It was just generic death metal that I'm not really a fan of to begin with, so it did absolutely nothing for me at the end of the day. Cinematography by Brandon Trost, not really anything that impressive. The editing was so frustrating at times because there were moments where it's just so frenetic and crazy that it just loses you. And once again, it just ties into the fact that Rob Zombie just cannot turn the dial down on the intensity. Another reason why this movie doesn't work is because you have these moments that are pretentious art house wank job, wank fests, and unlike some of these other movies, when they have these kind of this kind of stuff going on, Rob Zombie is not a good enough writer to really make these ideas or these theories or these themes very clear. So it's very murky and it's very incoherent, and it just seems like, he's trying too hard, and it's obvious that he's trying to just shove something deep into the movie, but without really a whole lot of thought put into it, because he's a shitty screenwriter. This is the kind of stuff that shitty screenwriters do. And apparently my cat's had enough of this shit too. Doesn't want to hear it anymore. When you got a movie that's so bad, you got animals who are getting upset, scratching at the door whenever you decide to even talk about it. You got yourself an epic fail of a motion picture. And for a film that's like 101 minutes, like once you get past like the first 30 minutes or so, it drags horribly. It's such a slow sludge and trudge through just so much dire muck. And it's just, I don't understand why anyone would say that this is like one of the best films of the year, or all the reviews that I've seen that have been pretty positive about it. But to each their own. I'm totally fine with people who like this film. Different opinions are what keeps this world interesting. But this film, it could have been interesting. It could have been a decent or good mix of horror and heavy metal and a little bit of maybe surreal humor, but it never really manages to be a palatable or even adequate example of any of those things. Uh, the lasting images I will have from this movie is Turkey Man and rainbow lollipop dildo dicks. That's really, and if that's what Rob Zombie wanted, then you got it, Rob. But I don't think that's what he intended when it comes to the impacts of the Lords of Salem. Um, I really don't know what else to say about the movie, except it's a nonsensical, uh, laughable, over the top, overwrought, pretentious wank fest that will make you cringe and die inside uh, with each sequence and series of events that you see unfold on screen. Uh, and it might have worked as this trippy weirdo movie if at least there were some characters that I gave even one single, diarrhea doo doo drop about, but it doesn't. There's no one to root for. And so you're just waiting for it to end. And once it does, it's just it's the best thing about the movie and the most cathartic thing about it is that it's over. And you don't have to watch it anymore. I would say this is right up there with one of the worst films that I've seen that Rob Zombie has done. And I haven't seen a whole lot of them. But in terms of the movies that he's done outside of Halloween, I would say this is the worst one that I've personally seen. Because this was just wank, rank, and all kinds of stank. Anyway, thanks for watching my rant on the Lords of Salem. And as always, I'll see you later. See ya.